Hi guys, in this video today, what I'm going to talk about is what happens when a narcissist is starting to lose control. And so feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content. If you click on the little bell, then it allows you to get the new content when it's uploaded. And if you're interested in private coaching, go to www.coachkat.org. So what happens when a narcissist is starting to lose control? Well, first of all, if you're dealing with a narcissist, most of them tend to appear to be always like in control, and they seem to be, they can be somewhat like almost like stoic, and it seems like they're unfazed, nothing ruffles them, they're just in control, right? Because they're all about maintaining that exterior sort of facade of like perfection and being like perfectly in control. And really, the reason that they want to be in control is it's actually just another way of maintaining narcissistic supply. So because at the core, they don't really have any inner value. And the sad thing about that is the reason is because they were either, traumatized or neglected as a child, or sometimes I've read a little bit that it can also be from overindulgence. But in general, it's typically a trauma, and sometimes like an egregious trauma. So because of that, at the core, there's this incredible self-loathing. I'm not saying that they're even in touch with that reality, but that is sort of what's going on for them. And they have little to zero self-worth. So they're like that. They're sending this mask of perfection. They're sending this representative or an ambassador to relationships. But inside, they're very empty. It's like a black gaping hole. They're empty inside. They're like shells of people. And so, a lot of that has to do with like internally, like they really, because they have this incredible low self-esteem deep down inside, even though that's not how it manifests at all, and they don't have any self-love, they're very paranoid, and they're always thinking that everyone else is manipulating them, right? Because that's what they do. So this world to them feels like a very unsafe place because they don't have these closely connected, intimate relationships where they can just be themselves. They don't have to send a mask. They don't have to hide who they are, right? So they tend to, of course, manipulate situations. And, what is supply? Well, really, it's anything that feeds their ego. It could be money. It can be prestige. It can be a job. It can be looks. It can be, a hot spouse, or like a very, it can be their very attractive partners or spouses. And another way, that they can feed their ego is by manipulating people so that they feel in control and powerful, like they have power over other people, that they have power over other people's emotions and psychological state. Because really, at the core, they're dead inside. They've unfortunately, again, like they had some sort of trauma or neglect or abuse, or, again, could be overindulgence, but I think that's more the rare case. Like they're very, these people are, it's sad really, if you think about it, like they're empty and they're hurt, but they are, because of they have that structure that nothing's wrong with them. They must be perfect. They can never show any weakness or vulnerability. They're not very inclined to go seek therapy or help for this issue. Narcissistic injury, is what they're living with a lot of the time. Like the world to them is this, place of injury. Like if anyone says anything that's like at all off-putting, it's like any sort of slight they perceive as just this incredible criticism. So imagine what it feels like to be you, and you get criticized and you're like, that does not feel good. I don't like the way that feels. But take that and, I don't know, multiply it by 1,000,000 and you get what a narcissist feels like. They're so oversensitive to any criticism, and that is perceived or real, right? So deep down inside, they just don't feel like they're good enough. They don't feel like they're lovable. I mean, that's what I imagine, that they just don't feel that they're worthy. Like at the core is this incredible self-hatred. But again, they may not be in touch with that. So what's going to happen, when, I'll skip this thing. Okay, so one thing to note that I made in my notes is that, all of their relationships are going to have the same trajectory. And they could be short-term, long-term, it doesn't matter, but they're going to have the love bombing, the devaluation and the discard. The love bombing is where they have you on a pedestal. Now I'm pretty trepidatious if anyone puts me on a pedestal, because it's like, whoa, 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 you don't know me. Like my friends that know me, they know that I'm lovable. They know that I'm a wonderful person in many ways. They also know that I'm flawed and I have all sorts of issues, right? But I'm not put on a pedestal, but sometimes when you meet a narcissist, they can put you on a pedestal, like nothing you do, like you're just perfect, right? But then eventually, wherever you were on that pedestal, eventually they're going to start devaluing you. And it could be little and little over time, slow and subtle, or it could be a quick devaluation. And then eventually their pattern is always to discard. Now they can create and recreate this cycle over and over and again in the relationship. They can love bomb, devalue, discard, and then go back to you later and then, love bomb, devalue, discard. This is a cycle. But what happens when a narcissistic injury has been created and they start to lose control of their supply or their target? Well, the mask will typically come off, and this happens, of course, during the discard stage. And what you are going to see, or what you might see, is an entirely different person than the person that you thought you were with. You might see overt rage, or you might see, it might be a cold rage. It could be tantrums, like overt tantrums where they literally act like a child and you feel like you're dealing with a small toddler, like, banging on their high chair, like king baby banging on their high chair. When they're losing control, they'll devalue and, they will start to try to make you feel bad so that they can get the upper hand. So they'll devalue, they'll rage, they can be very passive aggressive. And remember, these people are amazingly good at reading other people. They are amazingly good at sussing out your weak spots. And we all have weak spots because we're human. And if you're an empath or codependent, you might be very willing to share yourself too quickly with somebody, or to expose yourself and show them who you are. Like you may be willing to be very vulnerable. And of course that's like that can be like catnip for a narcissist, but they are good at reading people, and they are good at this for not the reason of trying to understand you and love you and provide you with, the love and nurturing and kindness and sort of what you need. They're good at reading people so that they can manipulate people, so they can best hurt people. They will stoop to very low levels when they start feeling like they're losing control. They really, really, really want to control the narrative, and they might rage to try to control you. They might use coercive control. They might manipulate, gaslight, love bomb. They may use their charisma, their charm. They may use silent treatment, stonewalling. These are all the you're going to see these extreme behaviors come out when they are losing control. And when they can no longer control you, they really want to control the narrative and how they are viewed. They do not want the public face. They don't want their mask to be exposed. Exposure to them is frightening. And they want to control the narrative because they cannot handle the truth. They cannot handle the truth. They hate themselves underneath it all, and they pretend to be perfect, but they're sending a mask. They're sending a representative. They're sending an ambassador to all their relationships. And they are trying to control what you think and you feel through like impression management. But what happens when they no longer can do that, when they can no longer use that or have control or power over you? Then what they like to do is they will try to control the narrative of the breakup, and they will try to control how other people see you, right? And again, a narcissistic rage, it's created when you speak truth to the lie, right? When you are speaking truth to the lie, when you are being authentic, when you are, speaking truth to the lie, that is the most dangerous thing to a narcissist, because they can't do it and they're terrified. I mean, deep down inside, they're actually they're cowards, right? But when you start speaking truth to the lie, it's like they just absolutely cannot handle it. So what they will do is they will start doing these things. They will do a smear campaign. They will manipulate the children. They will blacklist you. They will, because again, they're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to control the perception. They're trying to control the image. They will love bomb everyone around them. Like all the flying monkeys will get an amazing dose of love bombing. And these are people that maybe, it could have been like a sister-in-law that this person was like, insulting and said was weird behind her back. But then when a breakup happens, they're, love bombing that sister-in-law or brother-in-law, or, they're just, that's just a form. Like they're using that sort of incredible manipulation to like love bomb the flying monkeys or anyone else that might be sort of a third party, because again, they're trying to control the narrative. And they may get very aggressive. They will say that you're a liar. They will do a smear campaign. This is when things are getting, when things can get quite dangerous. I mean, if you're with a malignant narcissist or somebody who's more of a psychopath who has violent tendencies, this is where, people that are trying to get out of domestic violence situations and escape these kind of coercively controlling, physically abusive, emotionally, psychologically, verbally abusive relationships, like people can get really injured or actually killed during this time because, and again, I'm not saying all narcissists are violent, because a lot of them actually aren't, but if they are violent, like a lot of times this is where people can get really, really hurt, because the narcissist or the psychopath or the sociopath, the cluster B, the borderline, they're losing control. And for them to lose control is absolutely intolerable. And for them to lose control of you, which is you're just their supply, because remember, you're nothing more than a milkshake to these people, right? You're a hamburger, you're a milkshake, you're a Whirlpool, you're a Maytag, you are an appliance. They don't care about who you are as a human being. They can't see you. I don't know. It's really weird. I'm going to do some videos on this, but like they have this really weird blindness where they actually can't see you as a separate being than them. They can't imagine that you are, that you feel differently or you think differently or you're a different human than them. The way they look at it is like you're an accessory, you're an appliance, you are a Christmas tree ornament, right? You're there to decorate their Christmas tree, or you're an extension of them. So, which is part of the reason why they're not really that curious about the internal life of other people. They just aren't. And so the relationships with them are these incredibly like surface shallow relationships. There's just no depth, right? And it, you don't always recognize this at first, but that is sort of the reality. So when they're losing control, all of those, that narcissistic rage is going to come out, and you're going to see a lot of their manipulations. You're going to see the gaslighting, the rage, the smear campaign, the silent treatment, the stonewalling, the controlling the narrative. So I'm certain that if you've been in one of these relationships, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I just figured I would do a video on this. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to make more videos and I need to be a little bit more consistent. I've just been really busy lately. So I hope you guys are well, and I hope you're thriving. I hope you're doing radical self-care. If you tend to have those codependent tendencies, I really hope that you are getting help for your codependence. You can go to Codependence Anonymous, is a very good program. There's a lot of really good books by Melody Beattie and Ross Rosenberg, The Human Magnet Syndrome. Also Jackson McKenzie's book called Whole Again. I found that very therapeutic and healing from the narcissistic abuse. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day and you're thriving and practicing radical self-care and love. Thank you and peace. Bye-bye.